If you've ever looked at the morning movers or gap list and been like, this is the same batch of crappy stocks, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. Get involved, get in the chat, see why this is the best community out there. I'm not going to do anything to control you guys. I do have my main man 13 in the back, so we might as well run this intro and get this started.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, folks, welcome back. Happy Tuesday. We are back for another episode of Live Trading. Let me go ahead and bring on my main man 13. 13, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Just not too enthusiastic about the selection of stocks we have to trade this morning.
I was going to say, it looks like, as we call them, a lot of ex-girlfriends coming back to the party, trying to get involved again. And I mean, we'll see what we can make of this. Kind of a disappointing list of gappers. So you know what we're going to do instead, 13? We're going to lean on the chat to find us stuff to play. But as always, we're going to go ahead and break down what we see. Lynn saying, yay, Oilers. That was a heck of a game last night. In fact, I should reach out to Half Hitch Brewing and see how he's doing. Probably really good with the Edmonton win yesterday. Okay, let's go ahead and bring up the SPY and we'll talk about that first. So let me go ahead and do that. Here you go. We're still just kind of trading sideways here. I know one of the things that we had talked about recently, 13, was going to be the RSI and how it really looks like this needs to kind of cool off. RSI has been high for a while here. SPY just kind of trading sideways. It looks like here in the pre-market, we're dipping a little bit, but I don't want to make too early of a call here. I want to wait and see what's going on with the opening print. We got a lot of Fed speakers today. In fact, I think they're going right now. I think it's actually Barker right now. But a lot of that stuff here today. What say you on the SPY?
Looks like just still waiting for those Nvidia earnings. We do have quite a bit of economic news coming tomorrow ahead of earnings. We are going to get meeting minutes. I believe we do get some more Fed speak. There was one other event that I felt was significant, but it's escaped me for the moment. But aside from that, I think this market's just still waiting for those Nvidia earnings. We're probably going to have another half day of trading volume again. So just keep that in mind. It might be a very slow day. We might be not this show, but we might be checking out a little bit earlier than normal today if there's nothing moving. It might not happen until later in the afternoon too.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I totally agree. I mean, I think at this point, Nvidia earnings is clearly the catalyst that traders are looking for. I think yesterday we had something like half the average volume, right? I think we had like 34 million shares traded on SPY versus a average of 68 million, which is down considerably. Just no volume at all. So we'll see what we get here today. The one thing that I'd like to remind people, this is actually something that I've done before, and this has been a common occurrence here in the summer. If you don't see anything, it's okay to not do anything, right? I feel like if you force yourself into a trading situation or you force yourself to buy something, you end up making a mistake. That's not the way to go. So I like that. If there's really nothing going on, we'll kind of just watch it. We won't force ourselves into anything. One other thing that I wanted to bring up here has little to do with the stock market, unless you folks can think of some companies that might be affected by this. I can't. Here in Chicago, we are at the start of the horrific locust season. So we actually have a 13-year brood and a 17-year brood landing on each other this year. And there's going to be locusts everywhere. There might be a period here where I don't go outside for several weeks. And so we'll see how that comes. I saw the first of them yesterday. It's about to get a lot worse before it gets better here. So if there's any companies that kind of spray or help with cleanup or anything like that, I'd be interested in at least doing a deep dive into it.
Well, how about companies that are going to do bad? Do you have any? What kind of agriculture do you have out there that's going to get affected by this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. And the last time that this happened, this requires research, 13, because the last time that this happened, I was much younger and I didn't look into any of these things. But you're right. What is going to be affected by this, both positively and negatively? I don't have the answer right off the top. I don't have the answer right off the top. So, yeah, okay. So, cicadas, cicadas ate, not locusts, different bug
they're
altogether.
Different. Yeah, locusts are more like grasshoppers.
Yeah, so they're cicadas. Sorry for saying locusts. Either way, they're disgusting. It's awful. It's not fun. So for any of you that have to go through this, I understand, but it sucks. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the gappers list here and see what's on deck. First one here is going to be BDRX. We will get to GTBP here shortly. Don't worry, that was one from yesterday. First one here, though, is going to be BDRX. This is Biodexa Pharmaceuticals. This is trading up towards that 250 area. Positive, statistically significant phase 2 clinical trial results of its newly licensed drug Irapa. So, you know, we talked about this right before we came on here, 13. What stands out about this is that this is the type of catalyst that we wanted yesterday, right, for NKGN. These are the phase 2 results. This isn't the approval of the trial. These are the actual results. So what do you make here of BDRX up 91% here?
Well, so they're going to be presenting these phase 2 clinical trial results at the 2024 Digestive Disease Week annual meeting. That's going on right now. It started on Saturday. Today's the last day. So my assumption is that they're going to be presenting this today at that annual meeting. They do have a 4.38 million share float. They did a reverse split back in July, 1 for 80. I don't really think that makes a difference. The short interest, though, is 46.89%. They only have one day to cover, and it's not related to the reverse split. It's actually because their average volume is about half of their entire float. So they're about half shorted, and they trade half their float in a day. Well, that's going to be only one day that shorts would need to cover with that. And as I'm talking about, it looks like it's trying to make the next push up to over 260.
Here it is, popping here and on volume. One of the biggest volume sticks here in the morning on BDRX. This one we've seen before. This one might be our best play. I'd really kind of like this down at the 219, right around the VWAP. We'll see what happens when the market actually opens here. Okay, next on the list here is going to be GTBP, and this is one of those ex-girlfriends from yesterday. This one a little bit frustrating, as you mentioned yesterday, 13. Really, you know, didn't really do a whole lot during our show, right? Kind of fell out of bed, got a nice little pop there right towards the end of the show. But the big run happened pretty much as soon as we got off air. It then traded sideways here all the way through the extended session and the opening of the pre-market today before it took its next leg up, that leg up here on volume. I didn't see any fresh news for this. Did I miss anything?
No, this is
no fresh news here. So I think you're right. Relative volume from yesterday, this is likely on play here. We're already over yesterday's intraday highs. Take a look at a daily chart because of all the reverse splits. It shows you, I guess we're kind of trading into a resistance area here at maybe 16. What do you think on GTBP?
It depends on what the formation of the pattern that it's putting in right now ends up being. It looks like it's trying to form some form of a bull flag at the moment, but it's going to need to, I think, in my opinion, it's going to have to hold the 13 handle in order to finish that out. So we'll see what happens. I don't have any suggestion or stake in GTBP right now as in pre-market. Maybe when we open. They do have 1.329 million share float. They did a reverse split back in February. Other than that, don't have anything new to add.
Yeah, and frankly, as far as trade setups go on a stock like this one, I definitely don't want to chase any of these green candles. Let's have this come back into VWAP. You can see the couple of times that it's come back to VWAP here just in the pre-market. It's actually gone for another trade right after that. Let's see if we can get that to happen again here. We're a little bit extended at the moment. Okay, next one here is EDBL. I feel like we talk about this one every other day almost on this show, right? It's just one day it's active, the next day it's not, and then it's back again. Well, it's back again here. This is Edible Garden, traded up over 9 and is retraced $4 of that all the way back down to 515. The only decent setup here, or decent thing about this, is that we actually have a fairly decent gap from the current price that looks like it's holding up to the VWAP, which is at 666. So even just kind of a regression back to the VWAP gives you over a full point here on a potential day trade. If we take a look at the news here, got nothing. So, I mean, Is this relative volume from yesterday or from recently? I don't really think so. Last several sessions here look rather mundane. The last big session we had was on Wednesday, May 15th. So maybe it's week to week. So this was I guess today's Tuesday. It's not really even Wednesday.
If I have to make a guess on why this is moving, I think that because of how low the float is and that it's, got about 20% of its float shorted, that it's gonna squeeze here and there from time to time. It's only got a 546,000 share float. They did a 1-for-20 reverse split last month on the 5th, and when you combine that with the shortages that it has, it makes it. I mean, it's going to make it very volatile, and you're going to see moves like this that go all the way up to almost 10, and then in a matter of an hour or two, it gets cut in half. So there's a lot of potential to make money very quickly with this one, but as you can see, there's also potential to lose money very quickly with this one. Be very careful. Understand that there is a very, very low float in this, and that it can whip the price around dramatically.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we go with edible. This popped into the same resistance area, about $9, came all the way back down to about the same area. The last time that this popped, you can see that this stock really just kind of sold off in the regular session. We had one attempt at a bounce there. Let's see if we get the same. We've already given up a lot of these gains in the pre-market. Maybe we bounce now on EDBL. Okay, a couple other stocks to go from the list here, and then we'll go ahead and check out CTNT. I know that's what everyone's waiting for here. MTC, we talked about this yesterday. This was up a little bit in the pre-market. This thing got absolutely shelled the rest of the day, and it's really kind of bottoming out here. Technically, it's up 25% because it is up off the lows. But I'll be honest with you, this one has me a little bit worried. Really would need to cross 150 before anything happens here. You got anything on MTC here?
Couldn't find any news.
Me either.
The only thing I'm thinking that is just a continuation from yesterday. It's a China pump. They have a 198 million share float, not really fitting the criteria of what we're trying to trade here today with these low float names that move a lot more quickly than this one does. Trade it at your own risk. Understand what you're trading here. This is not moving on any news whatsoever. It's just being pushed around by people that know how to push it around.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Exactly right on that. Okay, let's take a look at CTNT, and then we'll go back to what's going on in GTBP here. Is that pretty much gave? Actually, I guess we could just start there. Do we want to take this one off the list? It just gave up the entire pre-market move in like one candle.
I wouldn't take it off the list because there might be a trade setting up for when we do open. It's,
no, I'm joking because it literally gave up everything it was doing in the last couple of minutes here. It's literally back down to where it was at yesterday.
It's a magnificent knife.
Magnificent knife. Okay, we'll come back to GTBP after the dust settles here. Let's talk about CTNT because boy, oh boy, was this thing wild.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday we didn't really talk about it in the morning because if you take a look at the intraday chart here, I've got this on a 5-minute chart. There was really not a whole lot going on this name during our show, right? I mean, this thing just kind of just traded back and forth, didn't really do anything. And then something happened here about 11 o'clock, right? About right at the lunch hour here, this thing really started to dip. Actually moved from a 10 handle all the way down to like $2, $3. And then just absolutely took off, just traded all the way back up to even, ramped into the close. And when the after hours came, everyone was checked out. We actually had a gentleman on the happy hour show yesterday, live trading this in happy hour. And I mean, I thought I was going to need to get a defibrillator out. He was all over the board. This stock was all over the board, got as high as $45, completely coming back in here and actually taking a leg lower here today. $45 high in the after hour session yesterday, current price $7.39. I would say if you don't have a very clear plan of what you're trying to do, this is not the stock for you. This will almost certainly get you hurt here. Someone was asking, why is this moving? Hey, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, this is clearly just some type of manipulation here. We didn't really have a whole lot of news here. It was a halt fest on the way down yesterday. Go ahead, 13.
So we did talk a little bit about this and what it might be, because as you put, there wasn't any news headlines on this related to the movement today. could see how there might be some. It might be just a late arrival of this volume. When you look at some of the things that were happening the week prior, I still don't think that that's what was driving it. There's something else that we just haven't seen. And if you look at what this company does, it makes sense that it's moving. If we consider what's happening with China and their EVs, this company is a supplier of parallel import vehicles sourced in the US to be sold in the China market. So there's a secondary market of demand where people who are interested in buying a vehicle, and let's say they live in China, they don't want to buy a China EV or a China vehicle. They're concerned that they are going to be tracked, that their vehicle is going to shut down on them if the CCP deems it so. They don't want the Chinese interference of the government in their vehicle. So what this does is there's a secondary market where this company will take other vehicles not made in China and bring them to China for sale. So I don't have the news on why it's suddenly decided to spike so much like it did, but that demand that we know that it's there, I believe is why this was moving as much as it did. So I'm keeping my eyes open for any news on the reason why, but also it is a very low float stock, 3.2 million shares in the float. So those two things combined is what I believe resulted in the move that it had. Now, again, I don't have definitive news on it, but when you look at what the company does and you consider what the secondary market is looking for over there, this move starts to make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that really has me confused, this stock was down 70% intraday before it made this huge run. And now here we are. Maybe we're rolling back down to the lows. Yeah. I'm not really sure what to make of this. I will likely stay away from this. This doesn't, to me, I appreciate all of the context that you just gave there, but it doesn't really seem like a good enough rhyme or reason for me to trade it. I think I might have success elsewhere. If one of you guys catch something that goes from 7 to 40, though, we'll get some register rings for that.
and it's not an old company either. This only is it's less than a year old. It IPO'd in August, and it just after the IPO, it didn't do hardly anything until recently, actually, until earlier this month. It just started going up and up.
This cheetah kind of all over the map. I think I like Jay's comment the best so far this morning. The other cheetah, ticker CMCM, doing better. Of course, Cheetah Mobile, no relation at all. Just a joke from Jay here. I was rather amused by it. So if you're looking for a better cheetah company, perhaps ticker CMCM.
Maybe a bag of Cheetos.
Bag of Cheetos. Okay. Yeah. See, yesterday we were talking about donuts and pizza, and now we're talking about Cheetos, and I'm doing my best to just not even talk about food here in the morning. GTBP looks like the dust has settled, and this is lower. This is actually down towards the lows of yesterday, intraday. Would love to see if this could bounce off of 667. I don't know if we'll end up getting that. Okay, I don't think were there any more on the list that I didn't cover for you, 13?
It's just going to be a bunch of the Bitcoin names that are moving also, since Bitcoin now is over $71,000. Actually, it dipped below 71,000 just recently, but because it spiked over 71K, almost up to 72K toward the end of the day yesterday, those names are now higher. So we might see some movement with those. Not sure exactly which direction. We've got this consolidation from Bitcoin since yesterday evening, and we're starting to test the lows of that. So if we start to break down beneath 7,000, I would say 7,500. That could be a problem for those Bitcoin names.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff there. This Bitcoin run, that to me, I think the larger thing is also something that we discussed yesterday. Moving Bitcoin tells me that spec is at least in play, at least from now.
What's happening with Nvidia here?
Apparently there was some news that was just happening now. Let's take a look at it. Nvidia rolling over here. Amazon halted order of the company's super chip to await updated models.
Okay, so what this is that we've well, if you don't know, now you're going to. Amazon and Nvidia have already had a partnership to develop data centers, especially with Amazon having AWS. So this is basically saying, okay, well, now that all these newer chips coming out, and Apple now trying to jump ahead of the line of everybody else including Nvidia, trying to buy up all the production capacity of 2 nanometer chips from Taiwan Semiconductor.
We got that news yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what's spurring this. Amazon's like, okay, well now our chips and our AI data centers are going to be slightly behind, what Apple's going to be able to produce. Not that they're huge into the data center, but their capability is causing concern here. So I think that now you're going to start seeing more orders being pushed back, and this could be a big problem for the guidance on Nvidia now.
Yeah, it sure can. That's just what I was thinking, because we had talked about the possible pull through here on Nvidia, leading to some of these gigantic beats for their earnings. And now it looks like maybe some of that revenue that was forecasted in that pull through not going to happen as these companies. Now, this, to be fair, okay, to be fair, it says that the company, they're awaiting updated models. So I guess you could make the case that you'd see an updated model or a new chip and they'd end up going with Nvidia anyway. Right.
How long is that, though?
Exactly. I think there's other variables in there. So I don't necessarily means that they're not getting no orders. It's just waiting. Question is when. There's a timeline in there. But I think the biggest thing, as you already touched on, 13, is how does this actually affect the pull through on their guide that was leading to those gigantic beats that caused the stock to really trade up after earnings? This news also, think the timing has anything to do with it. Nvidia earnings tomorrow after hours. We're getting that news here today. Interesting timing, to say the least.
Not only interesting timing, 2 of the Mag 7s putting out this news.
Yeah.
I think that's significant.
Crow here saying NVDQ. Is that an actual thing? I thought it was NVDS. NVDQ. Yeah, that is. Daily target ETF here. Okay. So some of those, the Nvidia likely to be in play. I know we joke around about some of these smaller, kind of junkier names here. This news might be a good enough catalyst to put Nvidia in play to both sides. So really good stuff there. Okay, I got about 4 minutes before we get started here. If you're excited now because it looks like the ex-girlfriends have been kicked to the curb and now we have a new issue to trade in front of us, smash up that like. Also, as a reminder, stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. So if you want to participate in some of this madness and you need to get over that 25K day trading threshold, Trade the Pool is probably the place to go to get you set up there. If you just need some more dry powder, they can help you with that too. All right.
That's a good point, thinking about it. Amazon might not want to spend right now.
That was thinking about it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. That's probably a big factor in this as well.
Okay, a record. This was really interesting yesterday. This really just kind of traded up out of the gate. We kind of noticed it as it was slowly moving up, retraced, but still held higher. Keep this one on your watch list, REKR. I'm actually still doing some work on this to figure out what's going on with this name and how good the company is, asking some people in my network. And then we'll do a really quick check-in on some of the big meme names here. We'll start with AMC. This one is a little bit higher than where it was trading yesterday. I actually think it's still lower than where it closed. Indeed, it is. We'll see if this gets rolling here. And then GME is the other one. Jay Rice in the chat here saying, story's over, boys. Kind of feels that way. I know GME popped here at the end of the day. Looks like it's really kind of drifting lower. I think we probably trade down and challenge these lows here today on GME. So unless something changes with the memes, we're probably done for the time being.
That Recor stock is kind of interesting. Now that
it is.
Put it on my radar. We just have today. We just have insider buys, pretty decent ones too. And this has got decent institutional ownership. It's got 15.9% of the float shorted. So
we had buys on Monday too, 13. So that was the other thing. We had the AI PR yesterday. We had more insider buys at a 130 handle. We actually had them buying right where we're at right now. Andy knows something about this company. I'm going to have to ask him again.
And this is on real-time roadway intelligence through AI-driven decisions. So the first thing that comes to my mind is Department of Transportation. Sure enough, news yesterday, Department of Transportation, this company and MS2, I'm not sure what that is, but they're joining forces to accelerate state Department of Transportation transition to digital infrastructure and AI-based roadway. This has a lot of future catalysts in it, I think.
Yeah. So definitely one to watch, REKR. Okay, we got less than a minute until we open up here. Let me go ahead and bring Trade the Pool up. And let's get rid of this. And bam, bam, bam. Zim. This is another one I don't really think we discussed. They had earnings here today, trading lower, but watch this. This actually might be another good day trade opportunity for us today. So we'll
this
see.
was, so we were looking for this to take off. It did ahead of earnings. So that's why we're seeing it sell today. Now, the fact that they've got a dividend that they're adding to this earnings report, that means that those shipping rates that they were negotiating while they were increasing, in the earlier part of this year, we're starting to see the benefits from that. They're starting to make money, so they're starting to issue dividends. That's the way this company operates. When they have when they're profitable, they pass that on to the shareholders. They raised their full year guidance. So this dip, when it stops going, when the price stops selling off, I think there might be an attractive trade here for the future. So I'm not done with this one. I don't own any right now. The trade was over for me a while back. But this is still, I still think this is a very interesting company to trade, and I'm going to be keeping my eye on it. I think we are open too.
We are open here. Nvidia moving around here. I'm kind of tempted to try some of this here, just to the long side.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry for ranting there.
No, you're fine. I am going to try some here. We'll see if we end up pushing up here on Nvidia. Tried it small, just 25 shares. Really don't want this to get too far away.
Looks like CLSK is trying to move here. Yeah, there it goes. So Bitcoin names still hanging in there. Let me take some of these other ones like Mara. That one's not doing much.
Sure, my fill on Nvidia was kind of crummy there. It was 437 even. I actually thought I was going to get it much lower than that. Here we are moving through for 937. I beg your pardon. Let's see if we can go higher here. Would like a couple of point move on this. Would like this to get back to the VWAP, frankly, at 941. Taking this for a potential bounce here. And I will get, you said CTNT got to a quick halt. Let me flip over to that here real quick. Halt to the upside, right? CTNT halted here. Indeed. Looks like that is a halt to the upside, David.
Yep. And it's not a very big price action halt either. Like it's just probably a lot of back and forth at that one level there.
Oh, Nvidia looks like this might be reversing here. I'm going to have to stop out of this, I think.
Reversing isn't going up?
No, reversing isn't going down. It had started to bounce here. If it loses these lows here, I'm going to have to cut it. We'll see if it's got enough to bounce one more time here, if it's just kind of shaking out some of those weak hands. I know it's a smaller position, but I don't necessarily want to hold Nvidia all day. Last thing I want to do is babysit the stock too, especially if you guys are calling a whole bunch of stuff that's moving around.
Yeah, I don't think Nvidia is going to really
have
has a lot of upside based on the chart that I'm looking at. If I look at a 5-minute chart, it looks like this is just making a bear flag to go lower.
Yeah. We'll see here. This is why I didn't want to just kind of react to that quick pull, because it did kind of reverse. It's trying to go higher. I wouldn't be shocked if this tests the VWAP before it really reverses, but I'll put a stop and play there just in case. I want to get some skin in the game. I kind of feel better trading some of these bigger names than some of the smaller names recently. We'll see if this works out with Nvidia. Not looking good so far. Let's roll through some of the other ones here. We already know what's going on with Nvidia. BDRX here looks like 250 potential breakout is what we're waiting on here. BDRX. Oh, and then who was asking earlier about happy hour? Alec, I think you were asking where do you got a trial for Pro? You want to know where to? Yeah, go ahead.
Health. I'm looking. So I'm trying to figure out where which sectors are moving. It looks like healthcare is doing okay at the moment. It's moving up. I'm looking at XLV. This is pushing up. I don't know what's driving this, but I think maybe some healthcare stocks might be worth a look. I'm also trying to check out consumer discretionary and staples. More of the beat up sectors. It looks like materials are doing okay. I mean, I see FMC is moving this morning, so some of the more beat up sectors might be the play here. So that's what I'm trying to check out right now.
Okay, FMC is up here. BDRX still waiting to go to that 250 spot. Actually pulled off of it, going towards the VWAP now. Nvidia, big push here. This is exactly what I was hoping for. We'll see if that keeps rolling here. Real quick, I know there's a lot going on. Alec, or if you're still there, for anyone that was wondering how to get to the happy hour in Pro, first of all, if you have your info bar turned on, This you can find in your settings menu. If you have your info bar turned on, it puts this little bar at the bottom on here, and it will flash the link to join the happy hour near the end of the day. So there you go. Let me go ahead and turn this off. We'll go back, trade the pool. We'll focus on the trading at hand here. BDRX. Let's see, it's trying to bounce off that VWAP here. GTBP, that was halted. We called that one out. That is still halted. Oh no, we called CTNT out. GTBP still halted here. Let's take a look at Nvidia and see what the chart looks like. We're getting the gains here that we looked for. There we go. Nice little pushback here. Probably just take this and book this. Get green on the screen early. Oh, you're gonna go. There we go. All right. Decent scalp there on that dip for Nvidia. Kevin, you said buy this dip on Nvidia. That worked. Went small there with just 25 shares, but some green on the screen. Good start to the day. I'll take that. And in fact, we'll wait and see if Nvidia sets up again or gives us another opportunity here. Alec, you're welcome. Jay, you were mentioning Lowe's here, ticker LOW. They reported earnings here today. They were higher and now have gone red here. I actually didn't go through that report yet. Let me know if you were reading into that. I'm wondering if there's anything we can deduce about the consumer or the consumer spending habits from the Lowe's report. And Matt getting called by Becca here. That's just crossing its VWAP and push. Actually starting to expand here now too. Volume is expanding. Good call there. Yeah, I will throw the link in there, Nicholas. I do that. I do that occasionally, but I can't possibly remember to do it every day. But I will do that again here. So be sure to check out the chat channel for happy hour as well. 13, how you doing over there?
I'm okay. I'm just trying to find something to trade. So far, the only thing that has been doing well for me is just FMC, but nothing else has really jumped out at me for a trade.
Hey, that Nvidia sell ended up being pretty good as it did not continue to go to that 945 and is reversed now. So really glad that I booked those gains.
Zoom is taken off as being mentioned by Mike Elam.
That's ticker ZM, right?
That's correct.
There we go.
And I think there was just some news that came across the feed. I know they had earnings. When did they have earnings? Yesterday? Yeah. So I think it's moving off of that, and it's moving off of all these, analyst price targets.
This doing the opposite of Lowe's, right? This went higher and then went lower, resolved lower, drifted lower, and now is going green the next session. So this actually having the opposite effect. And look, folks, I apologize for not bringing up Tesla earlier. This thing ripped out of the gate. We saw Tesla really sell off yesterday. We're getting the opposite here today. As far as trading goes, and Lynn and Randy, I'm sure that you'd say this or you tell the group this all the time. As far as trading goes, I think what I need to start doing is at least checking on this stock every day, especially right around the open, because this gives us multiple point moves. This is a 4-point move here today. And we didn't really have a whole lot of news. Sorry, say that again.
Battleground stock.
Battleground stock, baby. You could always find trades there, 13. Always.
So for ZM, since we're getting upside, I would think that we need to pay attention to the high that we put in yesterday, 65.63. Once we get up to that area, we might see some pullback. We might see it break out. Just keep that area in mind. See what the price action does once we get up there. I think that's going to be an
Apple pushing to the highs here as well. Interesting. See what the chat is calling Walmart. Walmart popping out of the gate here. You're right on Tesla. Yeah. I mean, and remember, I don't trade Tesla a whole lot. Like I feel like I lose more often than I win on Tesla, but really what I need to start doing is going to where the flow is. And every day without fail, Tesla gives us some type of move.
So let's take a look at the Mag 7 and we see that, oh, wow.
CTNT pretty much flat doing nothing. I thought that would be in play today. Meta looks like this is popping and rolling over 13. Maybe this goes lower on Meta.
Yeah. So Amazon, Google, Meta, and Nvidia are the ones that are down. And Tesla is up bigly, and Microsoft is up it's up pretty decently. I mean, it's 0.5%, but still, that's a lot for the stock. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's not really big significant moves. The only two real big movers of the Mag 7 are just Nvidia and Tesla right now.
Yeah, Jay mentioning here, XPEV is ripping. I'm not sure that Tesla is up on that, but maybe you're right. Maybe that's just kind of like a sector or a related industry thing there. Sally, good morning, Sally. Mentioning our old friend Cattle having a good start. Sally, you missed the opener. It was Return of the X's, apparently, today, as the entire Gapper list were all stocks that we have traded before. Cattle fits the bill, so I'm not surprised to see it here today. Sydney, didn't you say you were going to some conference for some of the treatment or something that they're doing? I think I saw your comment earlier, but I scrolled past it, so missed it. Sally, speaking of Return of the X's, okay, Oost, not great here today. This actually went yesterday. And what's the other Sally stock? Oost. Oh, EBS. EBS 13, you traded this yesterday, didn't you? You did well on this one?
I think that was one of the ones. Let me double check.
Because it had that nice run out of the gate, was never able to get higher there. And actually, the dip here looks like this is getting bought. This one fairly interesting.
Yeah, EBS was one of them. I had 11 trades yesterday. That was one of them. It was a good day yesterday because I didn't have anything go south on me. So
that's right. You told me that at the end of the day. That's right, which is really impressive, by the way. Great job.
It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's nice to see. I just jumped out of CLSK. I was trading that one because I liked the way it was moving. So I
was it a VWAP reclaim and push that you were after here, or what's going on?
When it started to recover off of that the last candle on the 5-minute chart that just had a big green move up, when it started to come back up to VWAP, I picked it up then.
Okay. Becca, interesting. 13, you'll have to let me know. I don't ever use Webull. On the surface, I find this comment quite interesting. Not sure if anyone else noticed, but Webull has removed comments from the feed section. I think this began with the GME squeeze. So there was some type of communal feed within the broker that has now been stopped. See, I wonder.
They have all their users are able to post comments on any particular stock, their opinions, their charts, whatever. So the fact, CLSK is really taking off now. The fact that they're saying that they're not allowing that anymore, that could be a good thing. There's a lot of misinformation on those posts. So
yeah, I mean, my whole thing with that is that I feel like that would drum up some momentum, right? Like, for example, CTNT wasn't really in discussion in the first part of the show yesterday. Actually, we can take a look at the price and you can kind of see it was really just didn't do much of anything. And then all of a sudden it happened. And I think it's comments like that where it kind of turns traders on to what's going on. That is interesting. I wonder why. I wonder if they gave any reason why they Bex, let me know if you found anything about that. I wonder why they would stop doing that.
I mean, I could, if you ever looked at some of those comments, you'd know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know what? To be fair, I normally stay away from that stuff. So if you're telling me that it's absolute junk, maybe I get it.
Well, some of them are and some of them aren't. You do have a lot of vitriol in there and a lot of really nasty things said. So I'm sure that it's part of that, but also there's probably a lot of, they may have been getting some heat from other users saying, hey, this person said this about this stock and it didn't work out and it's on your platform. So it could be something like that too. I don't have the exact
James, bringing some more information to the group. Not true. You just had to accept new guidelines. Now, everything that you just said, 13, I bet they're covered in the new guidelines. Probably accept. I bet. And I think you're probably spot on. You probably had people complain. You talked about misinformation earlier or just bad information. I don't want to use a term from our beloved government. But making decisions off information that's really no good. So maybe now there's some new guidelines you have to check so they can't get sued. That would make sense. James, really appreciate this. Again, I don't have Webull, so I'm kind of in the dark here.
The feed is still there, guys. The comments, the user comments are what has been removed. Because I can see the feeds too. And all I see is like, I guess we'll call them, company posts, trade, what are those folks called that partners, partner posts. I don't see anything from the users, But the
Okay.
yes, you're right. The feed is still there, but you're just not able to post on it.
Okay. By the way, other stocks that are moving here for potential trades, look at NVAX from yesterday. So
Yep.
NVAX went higher and now resolving even higher.
And we talked about with this too, about what the charts were showing us. The one thing that was bad about this was the RSI, which is really, really, really high. But the fact that you have the short interest, you had the golden cross coming, and you had that break over the 500-day SMA. You had a lot of other indicators saying that this might go higher. Now, be very careful with this because we might see some pretty big pullback in this as well. It's very extended.
The weekly 16 calls active here on NVAX. It's like 1,800 of them purchased right there
for this week.
NVAX at the highs here. Okay.
Are those calls for this week?
Yeah, they're the ones that expire May 24th, 3 days till expiry.
Yeah, and we're right on the doorstep of that strike, so I guess be careful.
I'm noticing those flow in here during this move, so probably it looks like someone just trying to play that. But in any case, okay. Let's see. Let's look around here. Tesla's still going higher. NVAX looking pretty good. Let's see what other possible day trades on here. We hit Nvidia already. Let's see. XPEV, you guys are mentioning. We already took a little look at that. Adrian says, talk about GME. Why? It's just rolling over into the ground. What is there? If there's something here, we'll mention it. Absolutely. I don't see anything here on GME. How about AMC? Nope. Really kind of just muted.
And how about FFIE? Down 20%.
Actually, you know what? We haven't even looked at that yet here today. FFIE, is this back down to 5 cents yet? No, $1.45 here, hitting up against the VWAP.
CTNT still halted. I guess it's continuing it just keeps halting to the downside. And it's not even that significant of a price action. It just keeps opening and getting halted.
You're exactly right. This is the third halt. All of them have been to the downside.
Hollow is running, says Stock Red Baron. Oh, yeah, it is.
NXT, Next Tracker. This is actually a decent stock. This moving here, light volume. You said Hollow? Another one of the X's? Here we go. Hollow just riding that VWAP to the highs here, though. M-Goal, that's a penny stock for you penny players, but that one making some moves here today. Anyone interested in that?
Oh, wow. CLSK had a knife after it got up to 19. I was out just above 18.
Knifed all the way back down to the VWAP.
I want to see what happens with NVAX once it hits 16. If that's where those calls are, I wonder if we see some volatility up there.
BDRX here dropping beneath the VWAP here. This one kind of a bummer. Got that initial pop, but really didn't do much. How's GTBP doing? GTBP, that after that knife, this returning to the VWAP. 992 is the VWAP, still 60 cents away here. To me, what's the next move when we get to the VWAP on GTBP?
I think if it doesn't break out, I think that might be obvious. If it doesn't break out, it's going lower. But it seems to me like this needs to move through the VWAP in order for there to be more upside. Because this doesn't. I don't like the formation, to be honest. And it's trying to break out of a trend right now. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
no, it's fine. I'm sorry. I thought that you were done there. I will always wait for you to finish. I want to see if what happens here at the VWAP. I want to see if this actually breaks out. Really quickly here, Born. Good morning. Did you see the King Charles portrait? That was the creepiest thing I have ever viewed. And why would he want that? Okay, I didn't see this, Born. So if you could do me a huge favor and maybe tweet me a link or something like that on Twitter, so I will take a look at it. I have not seen it, but based on your reaction, I think I have to at this point. I guess I could just look it up.
I guess it kind of makes you wonder, just like why. It almost, I saw a meme.
Wait, what? Really?
I saw a meme for this, and it was, remember that Ghostbusters 2 painting?
Yes. That's it. Vigo. Oh my God. What is with the whole like red demonic imaging that's going on amongst some of the elite class? I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know. Maybe they're all, going the way of CCP. Who knows?
Well, and here's the thing. That is a scary thought. I didn't even think about that. It's a scary thought. It sounded like you were joking, so I'm just going to pretend that's the realm that we're in. Real quick here, Nicholas is saying, love all the Ghostbusters memes for it. Yeah. Let's take the glass half full approach here, okay? If there's Ghostbusters memes coming out from something, that can't be all bad, can it? Ghostbusters.
Well, I think the Ghostbusters meme is what makes it good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that is one of the ugliest portraits I've ever seen. Some called it a period piece.
I get it.
I wish I had the badunk on the soundboard. I mean, I need to do that. I've talked about that too many times. I need to do that. Okay, let's get back down to brass tacks here. Jay, thanks for bringing us back to earth here. No expert, but the lower price to earnings names are holding up. That's like IBM, Goldman Sachs. Let me tell you something. Jay, first of all, IBM looking really good here out of day. I am so glad that Goldman Sachs is holding up. I thought for sure yesterday I bought that call right out of the morning, just kind of as a starter position here. I was like, you know what? I bought the top of this. I for sure bought the top of this. Nice to see Goldman Sachs coming back here today. JPM also being mentioned here. Crocs. Well, I know you couldn't wait to mention Crocs. You couldn't wait to mention stock ripping here out of the gate.
Yeah, GTBP still not able to get back above VWAP. I'm thinking that if it can't, it's just going to roll over here.
NVAX ripping, busting above 15 here. CCJ being mentioned. We've talked about that one. That continuing to move higher here. Jay, big shout out, by the way.
Uranium.
Yeah, big shout out on the whole uranium thing. You've been on that way before us. Marcelo, man, thoughts are uranium has been positive. We've had a number of chat members here, particularly Jay Rice, that's been bullish on this for a while. He gave this to us early. CCJ, the low 40 handle. And he gave it to our group. I know he's in it from lower.
I need to take a look at my water infrastructure watch list. Every time I see uranium and chips, not that they're moving together, but whenever one of them moves, I always go back to that because they are thirsty endeavors. Yep,
they are going to need water and energy in order for that to happen. Absolutely. And Matt here breaking out. Great call, Kingdom Lamb. And Crow. Sorry, Crow. I'm not trying to shortchange you.
For water plays, the ones that are up the most
are Bitcoin big knife down here.
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry about that. I didn't call. I was a little bit late on that one.
It's okay. No, the names that I have here on my watch list for water infrastructure: CWCO, and there was another one, but it looks like it went lower.
That's the only one. CWCO.
Yeah, that's the only one. Consolidated Water. That's the only
Consolidated Water. Okay,
that's the only one that's up 1% today on my watch list. So nothing really big on the waterfront. I know I have some other ones too, and I'll have to add that here. But water infrastructure is going to be a big deal, probably with the next administration. I doubt there's going to be anything happening with this one on that front.
Yeah. EDBL getting eaten here as it goes lower, staying beneath the VWAP on the EDBL. I don't know if there's a long setup here yet. City mentioning NKGN. This holding above its VWAP.
Take a look at NKGN.
BDRX maybe back to the VWAP. Don't see a whole lot looking really good at the moment. I'm glad we hit Nvidia out of the gate. MMAT looks the best here. MMAT or NVAX maybe. Feds Waller, quote, I just don't see rate hikes happening, end quote. Is everyone having fun yet? I mean,
we're gonna talk about it today.
Here, I mean, look.
We're going to talk about it today.
Oh, that's good stuff. Timing of rate cuts will depend on data. And then that was Waller. And then he just says, I just don't see him happening. So there you go.
Wait, is he saying rate cuts or hikes?
Okay, so there's two different quotes. I'm sorry for being unclear. Feds Waller says the timing of the rate cuts will depend on data, and the same applies for other central banks. And then he went on to quote and say, I just don't see rate hikes happening.
Okay. Let's see here. Beach
AMC red to green. Okay, so are the memes not dead yet then? Are the memes, are we coming back here? AMC looks like this is getting it done. 13, I just ran you over. I'm going to go to you here in a sec. GMed, not GMed, GME. Let's look at GME coming off the bottom, reclaiming its VWAP. Maybe we got something there. GME.
Rate cut start being priced in. Oh, I think
so. This Jonathan. This is a discussion that we have on Happy Hour all of the time. I mean, this is Joe. Wouldn't you say that this is probably our biggest thing that we're trying to figure out on a daily basis?
Because the market's so dependent upon these rate cuts. It's being heavily priced in. Cuts are, but later on in the year. So if we don't meet those expectations, like we've seen in earlier this year, which is why we got that downturn in April, then I mean the market's really volatile when it comes to these rate cuts. Everything's dependent upon it right now.
Yeah.
So it looks like NVAX is gearing up to go higher. No guarantee that it is, but we talk about rate cuts a whole bunch. I think that you're starting to see it get priced in. There's already been some pricing in of it. You can see that with the CME FedWatch tool. There's some actual pricing in there. It's in regard to futures, and then there's I think also the possibility that we discuss that rates would be higher for longer. We also discussed that I'm kind of going all over the place with this, but yes, price cuts have been starting to get priced in. In order to see the effect of price cuts or hikes, it usually takes like 9 to 12 months to make it through the economy. So even if we get them right away, we might not see some of those stocks feel those until much later.
So I'm gonna be kind of, first of all, I am watching MMAT here as I think this moves towards 4. So for those of you that don't care about the interest rates, just looking for the juice here, MMAT to 4 looks like the next move that's happening here. But real quick, just to put a button on Jonathan's comment here, I'm going to kind of be a smartass about this. At what time will the rate cuts start being priced in? I think they've already started, because to 13's point about the CME watch tool kind of changing back and forth depending on what Fed members say and what data we get and this, that, the other thing, what you're seeing is the pricing in of that rate decision in real time. And I think that it's kind of going back and forth here. So what that leads me to believe is that the final pricing of whatever cut, hike, or otherwise this is going to be is not going to happen until it's already done. You're going to have volatility leading up to it, into it, and after it as the market adjusts, especially if there's a surprise there. So I think that this has already started, and frankly, I think it's going to be volatile over the summer, especially in an election year.
And you can see how that's already begun to get priced in when you look at ETFs like the XLU, the utilities sector. Utilities are heavily dependent upon low interest rates because they're constantly borrowing. They're highly leveraged.
Yep. So
the idea of that interest rates are coming soon. Well, there's going to be investors that are going to jump into it early so they can be in it early, and that sentiment appears to be kind of across the board, because when you look at the XLU, we've absolutely gone parabolic. So if we don't get those cuts, guess what's going to happen with this particular ETF? Go down.
Down it goes, down to Chinatown, baby.
IBM and Salesforce have a deal. So CRM and IBM.
Is that why IBM's been strong this morning? Is that a new one that you're talking? Oh my God, look at that chart on IBM. The chart on IBM. Let me know if that's a fresh deal there. IBM ripping today. MMAT looks like, did it print 4 there? No, 394 is your high. There's some size there at that 394 too.
They also have some Watson X news. They're expanding portfolio with Amazon Web Services.
Okay.
There's that too. And IBM expands Watson portfolio. Okay.
So they've got Watson. When are they going to introduce like the next one, like Holmes? Like when are we going to get another type? I mean, the joke is one thing, but I actually mean this seriously. When is IBM going to take the next step with AI or release their next AI product or service or something like that? When are we going to get the next Watson, whether it's named Holmes or not?
I don't know. I would expect that it would be sometime after the hype has died down from the AI chip craze.
Okay, that seems reasonable. FLJ here, this moving here. FLJ Group Limited, this popping here.
Jay Rice, yes, it's AI power needs.
Yep.
It's EV charging infrastructure. We still have utility, not utility. We have crypto miners still eating up a lot of energy, and then it's getting hotter. So cooling too. It's a lot of different things. But I think you're right. Yes, AI is definitely driving the electricity demand. If you look at the CPI reports, electricity is from utilities is one of the big inflationary segments of that report. So absolutely, yeah, it's AI is absolutely driving electricity costs higher, along with the rest of the ESG moves that's been happening lately.
Goldman Sachs continuing to trade up here. Let's hope we keep getting that.
Well, I would disagree. I think the interest rate sentiment is definitely getting baked into some of these utilities. I'd have to disagree with you on that one, because if interest rates are expected to stop going up and there's an expectation of cuts, well, that's what's been driving some of these utility names and investors into them, because they want to get it when their margins are going to be improving, and if they are borrowing at lower rates, then their margins are going to improve. I'm not saying it's only interest rates, but it's a segment. It's a part of it.
Sorry, I'm laughing here. Zoltan is something else. Zoltan, if you're out there, let me know. Oh my God, Alyssa's the best. But Zoltan, I hope I can repeat this. I'm trying to check with you to see if I can repeat this here. Let me know if you're out there, Zoltan.
I guess STFU in a word, emissions. I guess that would be it. I agree that gas is way cleaner than coal, but still, it's like one of those things where you burn it, so it has emissions.
Zoltan, can I share your comments about Mullen and Nicola? Is that okay? Because I think it's great. Yes, he says yes, I can. Okay. Okay. So Zoltan messages me and says, yesterday I saw Mullen and Nicola vehicles. And I wanted to touch them to see if they were real. And my response was, well, are they? And he said, yeah, they are. So rather entertaining there. Appreciate it, Zoltan. Let us know what your impression was. The curbside appeal is something for these EVs. I'll be honest, like the whole Polestar car, that looked really kind of junky to me. And then I saw it in person in an Arizona mall, and I was like, actually, this thing looks sweet. Lucid, same deal. Lucid's the sexiest of all of those, in my opinion.
STFU is killing it on NVAX, and I was just shouting out because they had a nice move up to the intraday highs and they pushed above it.
Hope you folks did okay on MMAT. That did break the 4 spot that we were talking about. Remember, that high was 394. Pop here, 410, your new high. Let's take a look at the NVAX trade that you had going. Oh, wow. So 13. So what? So this just popped the top here and came back in.
Yeah, it's starting to come back in. And remember, we were talking about the options. Their strike was 16. So I was saying how I'd be a little bit more cautious about trading up over 16 or at 16. So I only took a short trade and scalped that candle when it popped up there. I'm not in anymore. Okay.
That was a nice job selling into the strength. I love that. I love that. I'm going to say that all the time here.
I was hoping for more, but as soon as we slowed down there, I was like, well, maybe I better get out.
MMAT back under 4.
Looks like Bitcoin might be coming back.
Bitcoin's holding that 70. You know what's ripping is
I mean the names. Oh,
like the Bitcoin names. Excuse me, my bad.
Yeah, because Bitcoin. I kind of watch Bitcoin with the names, because if the price of Bitcoin starts to turn around, names typically follow.
Apple trying to move higher here. Looks like it's trying to go for 193. GameStop also kind of volatile. It's broken and reclaimed its VWAP here. So volume. Let me zoom out here. Volume rather average, honestly, for GameStop. If this starts to increase, we could see a dramatic change in the price here on GameStop. I don't know. It doesn't really seem like anything's going there anymore. BDRX, this did come off the $2 level back to its VWAP. We'll see if it can reclaim it and go higher.
And Matt,
good morning, Jesse. Sorry.
And Matt is trying to make its way through consolidation from after hours yesterday. If it manages to get through that, I'd be interested to see what happens when it reaches the high yesterday of 460. So there's some levels there for you on MMAT.
Okay.
Looks like uranium is about to go higher. UUUU is going higher. CCCJ is about to put in some new highs here.
I'll tell you what, this CCJ, this to me is an add-on weakness. If we can get this back to any type of these moving averages or these support levels, I'm going to have to add some for a longer-term trade, I think. It was stupid of me to sell this in the first place. When I first started buying this, I should have just hung on to it for a longer term. It was stupid of me to get rid of it. FLJ is still moving. That's been one of our bigger movers here today.
So it looks like there's just we're not getting the rollover that we might have been thinking we were going to get, because the market isn't looking that weak. As a matter of fact, it's looking like the dip's getting bought. Algos, gotta love them. LIDR, says Jane Smith. I'll take a look at that. Oh yeah, this thing's moving up too. Now, it's got some separation. And is this just is it just a bit of a spread, or has it been halted today?
I don't think LIDAR. Let me see here real quick. CTNT, Lira, CTNT, GTBP. No, LIDAR has not been halted at all.
Okay, so maybe just a little bit more of an illiquid trade, because I'm looking at these candle bodies. No problem. I'm just looking at these candle bodies, and they have that indication that they were suddenly stopped at the high and low of the candle, and then just moved into the next candle with a similar body. So you kind of see these with halts, but I was just curious about that. Jay Rye saying FFIE, no weeklies, but those monthly premiums are juicy. If we think FFIE is going to come back, PDRX coming around. See, was that on our list today? Yes. This is the phase 2 data is supposed to be announced at that annual meeting today. Did I say that correctly? BDRX? Yes. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to get back up through that VWAP. So if we are thinking this is turning around, as you know, even the MACD is sort of suggesting that it might be, VWAP trade could be good here. As far as how high this goes, there is a pre-market high of 264. We tried to get up there twice in pre-market, about 15 minutes before, and here we go. It's starting to move. Great call.
All
Sell
right,
premium. I'm not trading any options.
My bad. VAX pulling back here, it looks like.
I don't know what you're talking about, J. Rice. I'm not talking about any options. BDRX is trying to push into those highs in the free market.
Yep. Rolled right through its VWAP.
BDRX, LIDR.
LRMR at the same spot that BDRX was at, right at the VWAP. We'll see if this can get some continuation through it.
835 looks like that might be a problem level for LRMR.
835. Yeah, I see the size there. It's not huge, but it's there. IBM, by the way, on this move, appearing on my relative volume scanner, that volume notable here. Doing a good job holding higher here. BITF, that's one of those Bitcoin ETFs. Looking around at the rest of the list here. XYLO, did anyone pull this one up here today?
It looks like EDBL is trying to come back up and retest VWAP. It's got some support since the pre-market down at just under 5. So the fact that we're still holding there, if we can, it looks like a pretty good support level that it's coming off of. So maybe wait and see what happens with EDBL. but it looks like it wants to try to get go after new intraday highs.
Last time it went to this VWAP, it stopped there.
Yeah.
EBS lower.
Yeah, and VAX trying to find support from VWAP. Hollow after that morning pop, it is going back down.
So it YOLO'd and now it's JOLOing. Which one is which? So YOLOing is moving to the upside and JOLOing is moving to the down, or do we not define that?
You'll have to ask Lynn and Randy.
Well, that's kind of what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. I thought you were asking me.
LIDR looks like this might be trying to take 3 here.
Zoom, after that first pop and drop, it's now trading back above VWAP. So seeing a little bit of a volume expansion.
CING, someone mentioned this earlier. This is a penny stock. It's just completely flopping. Nicholas, you're asking for actual info from the Fed. No, they just jawbone stuff a lot, right? They're just, I don't know how like concrete you're looking for here. A lot of jawboning going on. This was Mester yesterday. It was Waller. It was Waller saying rate cuts are going to be dependent on data, and then I just don't see hikes happening. That was the news. But I don't really think that's any more of the concrete data that you're looking for, right? That's just kind of them flapping their gums. FLJ, this was so some of these small names did put in a decent move here. Been late to the smaller moves. NVAX maybe a move off its VWAP right here. That could be.
Smoke Tuna mentioning Duo. That's moving.
Duo, oh, Fang D. Okay. Yeah.
Looks like that LRMR is still trying to get past that 835 level. I think is going to be a problem.
MGOL here. This one, that penny stock. This actually looks like this is rolling for highs here. 76 cents the intraday high.
And 80 cents is pre-market. So we get through that intraday one. I'd say that pre-market's going to probably be the breakout.
New York Times, ticker NYT at the highs here.
Did they put out a good article?
I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. The only thing I went there for was Wordle, and when they tried to make you sign up for an account, I said, you know what? Peace. Would never support that company. Goldman Sachs continuing its march higher. AstraZeneca continuing its march higher.
Interesting. Target 80 billion total revenue by 2030. Okay, so they had a long-term guide.
Going through some of the other stocks here. Don't really see a whole lot going on. Market kind of just holding at about flat here, down 0.05%.
That Duo call by Smoke Tuna was great. This thing is really going.
Oh yeah, it sure is. Is this halted or is this?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's still moving. Yeah.
Looks like 155-ish might be. Oh, I can see right now there's a 150 wall, and it's trying to chew through it at the moment. But I can see from not yesterday. Well, yeah, yesterday the pre-market. There's a pretty good amount of consolidation there, so I expect there to be an initial resistance, but maybe it chews through that as well.
Don't really see a whole lot of unusual options. Bloom Energy, big sweep there. 1,390 contracts. That is at its highs. Look at ticker BE here. That's seeing some unusual call buying as well. This volume expanding here. BE to the highs.
Okay, so this company is trading over the 200-day SMA after being rejected multiple times since last year. So That looks bullish to me, and we're also going to get a golden cross in a matter of days, maybe a couple weeks. So there's some. It seems like this is getting or starting to get the upside and recovering off the lows.
Let's get Andy on. Hey, we might have that worked out for some day this week, Lynn. Just saying. Just saying.
Also, BE has 28.64% of the float shorted.
Yep.
6.21 days to cover. So there is a little bit of a squeeze happening there, I would say.
Indeed.
Interesting. On-site power generators.
Top, that's still holding 2 here.
MGOL. Danielle, yes, there's news that broke that Amazon, who's a big purchaser of Nvidia chips, is deciding to hold off on some of their purchases for later models of their of the chips they're producing. So that's leading the stock lower.
Yeah, and we had thoughts about that, maybe affecting some of the pull through on the earnings. Timing seems a little strange with them having to report earnings tomorrow. So that's what's going on here with Nvidia. Despite all that, we were able to actually trade the initial bounce here today. So we booked some gains on that. Stay focused. Good morning, Ryan and 13. Bloom Energy is an AI play. I think someone is figuring that out. Sure seems like that. Stay focused. Good morning. Hope you're printing today. We hit Nvidia right out of the gate here today. XPEV, is that still ripping? No, that's coming back in.
Stay focused. Is it AI in the sense like that it enables remote AI, since you have the ability to set up off-grid infrastructure with their their fuel cell systems? And that's kind of what I'm getting with this. But please tell me since you seem to know more about this than I do.
How's PWP doing? Oh, look at this swing. Just absolutely rocking the Gottheimer buy. That was so good. I can't believe that's working out.
LiDAR and Duo been pretty good. Looks like MGOL is now halted. I don't know if you mentioned that.
I didn't. It is halted. MGOL is halted. That was the penny stock that was ripping towards the highs. We took that out. Bang, right into that halt there, 88 cents.
Oh, okay, so stay focused. This is more of not so much like remote data center, but kind of like data center power backup.
Take care of yourself, Jesse.
My scanner pulls up everything that has at least a volume of 1 million. So I'm going to be getting all these smaller names too.
Where do you set your scanner? Above dollar or around 70 cents? I was just wondering. Okay, so here I can actually just show you real quick. So first of all, this is the scanner, right? This is what we use while the market is open. Here are the settings themselves. All right, so as you can see, there's actually no price filter on this. So I'm not filtering out penny stocks in any capacity using the scanner. However, when I use the movers tool to prepare the group for the stocks that are gapping here and the catalysts that are moving them, I do include this price filter right here, right where you see my mouse moving around. Minimum value of $1. I don't really care what the news is for the penny stocks. If there's something worth covering, we'll how I filter those names out. So in the prep, I filter those names out, but when the actual market opens, I take a more holistic view of what's going on. Hope that helps. Oh, we're getting a tease for happy hour in here from Stay Focused. You love to see it. You
Nice.
Just love to see it.
My pen and paper is ready.
I love that there are still people out there that use pens and paper, by the way. MGRX, this actually looking like this might be trying to go higher. Another penny stock here. AGRI, I think this is another penny stock here. This one also at the VWAP. Cheers, Jonathan. Cheers. FLJ rolling here. LRMR still holding out in that same spot. LMFA is another one that's still holding out in that same spot. First solar appearing on the relative volume scanner. This higher here for solar.
Uranium names rolling over. CCJ with an ugly knife. Quadruple U kind of doing the same thing.
Right back actually through the VWAP here on CCJ.
Duo looks like it's going to put in a new intraday high. We're right up there. It's close to doing it. I'm trying to just push through, and there it is. There goes Duo.
There it goes. Goldman Sachs continuing its march back. Boy, this is great. I thought for sure. I was like, Ryan, did you just buy that high? Probably should have added more calls here today.
Oh, you want
that's working. That swing's working.
Lynn and Randy, you want to hear something really sad is how some of our younger generation doesn't think that, and they're probably right, but they don't think that cursive is necessary. And I'm just like, well, good luck reading the Constitution.
No, that's not correct. Straight up, that's not correct. If you're going to do anything that's handwritten, cursive is superior in almost every possible way in terms of speed, writing style, the whole 9 yards. No, that is, it might be an opinion, but it's an incorrect one.
Yeah, they just, that generation is just really involved with the keyboard. So they see pen and paper and writing in general, I guess, is just, old fashioned.
It's almost as if we need another, how there's like BC and AD when you're talking about years. It's almost like we need a pre-PC and a post-PC, because that dividing line changed the way people think about the world considerably. Learn with Moses. CC maybe, ticker SI. Let's take a look at it. I don't have a whole lot else going on. This was Shineco. This was on yesterday. This actually, if you take a look at it, the 15-minute, we had the huge impulse move and it really kind of come back down here. Does look like it's curling, volume less than impressive there. This really needs volume for this to be a play. I guess we could also check in on the memes. GME really just kind of holding in the same spot there. AMC, same deal, a little bit more volatile, but basically the same deal here. Cursive helps with cognition. That I didn't even know. Ryan, problem is the schools aren't teaching penmanship. Now that I can understand. Say again?
They're not teaching a lot of things they should be.
Yeah, that's true. The one thing about like teaching penmanship, I mean, I think you should learn the cursive alphabet, but I think inevitably it's going to be up to a person to practice it. And I definitely, as 13 said, they're attached to their keyboard.
Yeah, you're seeing. I mean, this happened when I was in high school. It was years ago. They started shutting the metal shop classes, wood shop classes. I don't think automotive survived. I hope horticulture at least, is still being taught. But a lot of these hands-on skills that you just don't see with those generations, they're not there because they didn't have any of that in high schools that have been cutting those programs out. It's sad.
Sure is. MGOL, folks, no longer a penny stock. We rip through one here on volume. Tell you what, for all of you that say, Ryan, you're an idiot, you never play penny stocks, you were right today, because look at MGOL. This thing went from 40 cents in the pre-market. We're now popping over $1.10 here. Big move, ticker MGOL. Grats to anyone that hit this.
Don't have a whole lot of trades today, but they've been all not bad. BE looks like that just put in a new intraday high, just slightly.
Elisa asking, does your scanner have voice alerts? Yes, it does, actually. So in the Benzinga Pro, if you click on settings and you go to notifications, you can see that there are two different sound alerts for you to choose from. You can either play a sound or you can have it text to speech. Now, I don't like text to speech because it's like a robot talking. It's too slow. I actually don't use these, and the only way this updates is when something appears on the list that wasn't there prior. But yes, we do have that. If you're looking for a more specific alert, I'd like to hear about that. Shoot me an email.
Alicia Chains has a good question. I don't necessarily think that there's voice alerts in Benzinga Pro, but there are alerts.
Yeah, that's what I was just addressing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no,
Sorry
it's
about
all good. No, one of them is voice tech. That's what I was covering. One of them is voice to speech, so it'll say like ticker AGRI, and it sounds like a robot. It's kind of slow. That's my big gripe with it. But yes, we do have audio based
The
alerts.
screaming goat sound would be great.
Can it be the screen? No. You know what? Here, I'm actually going to screenshot that and show it to devs. At least that'll get a good laugh out of them.
Yeah, that'd be cool if you can upload your own, notification sounds. And Nicholas, I don't want to, dive too deep into it, but I agree with you, and I'll agree with you. I'll just leave it at that. It's going to open a can of worms trying to dig into the whole mess that is. LIDR.
Yeah, we're not gonna solve that one here today.
Nope. The only thing that we're going to solve is whether or not these stocks are going to go higher or not. Oh my God, CTNT just is a halt fest to death,
and it's just dying. It's just like going down. It's not doing it. It's not. There's no trade here. I mean, I guess unless you're holding short, there's really no trade here.
Imagine there being stoplights on the way to your grave. That's what you have with CTNT right now. Looks like Duo is setting up to maybe put in a bit of a bull flag or bull pennant. That's at least what the current formation is starting to put in right now. Now, I want to see it hold VWAP, because if it doesn't, then that might not be the case. But monitor Duo, there might be another trade setting up here for this.
Look at Zim.
Did it recover?
It's almost back to green, baby.
Yeah.
Slow mover, but almost back to green.
We're off it taking, and now we're back in it because, hey, we guided for the whole year. So that means it's going to keep doing good.
I bet scanners with the meow sound would be extremely popular these days. I don't think you're wrong about that. Honestly, I think you might very well be right about that. As much as I do love cats, I would never have a scanner sound. Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, when your scanners sound like a soundboard.
Yeah. I'm just picturing how that day is going with my computer making cat noises and my cat being like, what the hell
or duck quacks
is going on?
The duck quack would be great.
Yeah, that was actually a really good impression. BDRX here riding its VWAP. Watch for this to possibly push away.
LIDR
looks to be live in New York.
Sorry to interrupt you, but LIDR still putting in new highs.
You are not interrupting me. LIDR rolling to the highs here. The M's are running. Great day. MMAT, MGOL, MGRX. But Crow, what about M? What about the
Macy's?
Macy's, which reported earnings, went lower, came back green, and is now rolling over lower. What about the M?
I haven't looked at their report, but I bet they say something a lot about shrinkage.
It was shrinkage. Okay, we don't even need to go down that road either. MGRX, this looking like this might bust out those pre-market highs. LIDR has been a really good mover. Tesla actually pulled back off that initial rip here. Tesla trying to reclaim its VWAP.
Wow, what an update to their guidance. It's almost
what they say.
They updated it from 22.2 billion to 22.9 billion to the new guide is 22.3 billion to 22.9 billion. So they're expecting 100 million more.
Okay.
Than they're So okay, good job. I don't even know if that was worth mentioning.
I mean,
it is, but at the same time, it's like almost. It seems like too much of a drop in the bucket, in my opinion. That might be a bad opinion, but that's just the way I looked at it. It almost looked like the exact same guide.
Hims here, no continuation after the big move yesterday. That might be okay if this takes a break here. Talked a little bit about this in happy hour, this being a potential weight loss name. Netflix. What about the move in Netflix yesterday?
What was the news?
So Netflix, I'm actually just talking about the move. This thing went from 621 to 641, just a 20-point move intraday. Let me actually bring up the news for Netflix. I didn't see what it was. Watching Netflix. Wedbush earlier issued a note saying after winning the streaming wars, Netflix is now positioned for ongoing high margin revenue growth in advertising, positioning to accelerate ad tier revenue contributions into year end at 2025 as it improves its advertising solutions and targeting, expands partnerships, and adds more live events. Reiterated and outperform, moved to a 725 price target. That's what was driving Netflix yesterday. More continuation here today.
So are they declared the winner because they're a streaming service that's profitable? Because I know that these other streaming services are just, they're just kind of throwing money into the wind.
I'd actually have to get the Wedbush note and see if they go into why they say that. I mean, it's definitely the best in breed, but they're not really telling you why that's the case here. In any case,
Nicholas, that's a good point. And Amazon does have some sports too. So I'm just curious.
Peacock, Netflix, Apple streaming bundle, 15 a month represents a 30% discount. Sorry for interrupting you earlier, by the way.
That's okay. Yeah, so I guess I'm just kind of curious as to, that declaration of them winning the streaming wars. I'd imagine that would be the reason why. And if that's the case and they are the stock du jour of streamers, then I don't know why they feel like they need to get involved with Peacock and Apple unless they're just trying to, build out their offerings. Apple has better shows nowadays. I've noticed that Apple has some pretty good shows. They have some pretty good movies too. Smoke Tuna mentioning MNDR. This is one that we were talking about in Happy Hour yesterday that could see some moves. They have a corporate statement out today. Oh yeah, because they put this out yesterday.
This MNDR mentioning?
Yeah. So they had it's funny because it says that they report earnings, but then you have these Form 6Ks coming out that shows, essentially their balance sheet. Anyway.
The scanner here.
Take-Two Software Grand Theft Auto 6 will make a pop. But yeah, but that's not until next year. And I agree. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be huge, especially if they keep the if they continue to allow the modding community to do what it's done with Grand Theft Auto 5. That absolutely drove sales bonkers in that game. I think that now Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of the top 3 selling video games of all time, behind, I think it was Tetris, and I'm trying to think of the other one. But anyway. But yes, I do agree that it will pop, but I think we're a little bit early because that's supposed to come out in 2025. I don't think we even have a specific release date next year for that either. Duo now beneath VWAP after hitting a high of 165 and coming in.
Cracked its VWAP right there.
Yeah. Late July this year. I thought that it was delayed. I'll double check for you though.
Let me check the Twitter streets. I don't really.
Yeah, it's essentially locked in for fall 2025.
See what we got here on Twitter. Oh, people are talking about MGOL. Looks like the penny stock was the big play of the day here today.
Well, it's not a penny stock. Well, I mean, it's
no, it's not anymore.
But it's over $1 now. Yeah, you got it, man. LIDR hit 347 before coming in a bit. Now it's trying to hold on to this 330 level. Okay, what are we looking at? What's looking good? I mean, NKGN trying to get above VWAP, so there might be something there.
Sorry to be the Debbie Downer, but nothing really. I don't really see anything that looking great. I'm trying to look all over the place too, but I don't see a whole lot of setups.
Nope. BDRX looks like it's going to lose some support at the $2 level, or it's headed that direction. I think NKGN might be one worth watching since it's trying to make this push over VWAP, but the volume is just gross.
It's just MGOL.
It's just
like
MGOL.
MGOL. That's where it's at. You know
Yeah,
what's
but it's
interesting
halted,
here?
so
Halted at the moment. That I'm just
yeah.
mean that's the only thing that's
You're
moving around, I guess. Dog Z. I can't even believe I'm going to bring this up. I'm never going to trade this ticker again. This thing is just a box job here. You know, one of the things that's interesting here is SPY. This actually looks like we're trying to go. We are green here, just barely. Maybe we can get a little extension on that. 531, your intraday high from yesterday. 531.56.
Oh, I love the 80s movies references, guys.
You liked RoboCop, huh?
The first one was a classic. The second and third ones were, even though the second one had some pretty good memes.
I don't even think I remember RoboCop 1. I would probably have to go back and watch that again. I'm not sure I can stomach that. Now, if you're saying it's good though, maybe I could.
You're gonna look at it and be like, "Oh God, look at all these, now famous actors." AMC green. Uh-oh.
Sectors.
Well, I mean, because you're going to see like some of these, more established actors that that were just kind of getting into it a little bit back then, and now they're much more popular. AMC. Here's the interesting thing: 2 times it's been up to 493 and been rejected since the after hours yesterday. It was just before the close. After hours 493 got rejected. We're almost there again. Do we break here, or do we get rejected again?
Now, AMC, more action, looking better than GME. We got a report yesterday that Roaring Kitty seemed to have moved to AMC, if I recall correctly.
I remember hearing there were some tweets about that. SMCI and Nvidia thoughts. Well, I think today we got some
Nvidia
weakness.
And Nvidia is trying to go back now, trying to actually close that move down here. So looks like that was decent trade on the bounce here, but let's see on Nvidia if this keeps rolling.
Yeah, it's interesting that this got bought up like it did, because that could be a thorn in their earnings. But we'll see. For me personally, and I I'm probably wrong because it's just been ripping and ripping and ripping despite the fundamentals and the technicals. But with SMCI and Nvidia, I'm on the side that they need to come back in and come back closer to a more realistic price. I don't think this is really realistic.
Neither do I. And now if we're starting to see some like dents in the armor here about some of the pull through that got them to this level in the first place. Who knows what that pullback could really take us to?
Like a slug in salt today. So it's bubbling.
That's pretty terrible.
Well,
yeah, this is definitely slower here. AMC rolling here. AMC looking it's moving up here. I'm not going to trade this. I'm going to pass on this one, but this is definitely moving.
You think that the market's waiting for Nvidia? It looks like the market's waiting for Nvidia. Well, Duo through VWAP, that might not be coming back. What?
BDRX through VWAP, but it's just kind of holding there, and it's done that a bunch of times. Really kind of barcoded right through here.
I wonder if we see a lot of selling in anticipation of the Nvidia earnings, as people kind of like just getting out of the market a little bit more in case the earnings aren't as great, but kind of holding still some positions in case it is.
Stay focused, mentioning Nvidia ripping here. Stay focused. What do you attribute this to? Just kind of volatility ahead of the earnings?
It's algos.
Yeah, I can see your chat. You had mentioned that Tesla was curling, right? Off the VWAP.
Stock split announcement tomorrow. I don't know. I mean, it would make sense with the current price, but we have other stocks that are really high price that haven't stock split yet. I'd imagine that AVGO would split at some point too.
I don't think we're going to get that on that next print, though.
Probably not. M goal open and going higher. It might even be going into another halt. And it is. Well, we'd like to trade it, but it wants to keep halting. Let this uncomfortable silence be indicative of the market.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of something here, but I don't even see a whole. I don't really see anything great.
Well, let's take a look and see if that theme that I was talking
Nvidia
about
split would put the Mag 7 back in huge favor. I mean, no. I mean, it would really help Nvidia. I think that you'd really juice some appetite for more Nvidia. People that maybe can't afford the $900 price tag right now would be interested in playing it.
Initially, probably no, but eventually yes, because we've seen with these past splits like Walmart and Apple, they tend to see some profit taking initially, and then they end up going higher, past their split date. We've seen that before, so I would assume that that's probably going to be something similar that we see with Nvidia if they do split.
MGRX trying to no longer be a penny stock too. Are we buying LAM after the split? Ticker LAM. Don't have it in Trade the Pool. Yeah, no, are we buying LAM? There must be something else.
Yeah, what's LAM?
Yeah, what are you referring to? I'm sorry. I feel like an idiot.
Not an idiot, dude. I'm not getting it either.
Pan W here.
LAM research.
LAM research. So LXRX, right? Or LCRX. What is it? Tickers. LRCX, for heaven's sakes. Are we buying that after the split? Yeah, I mean, I want to see how it behaves around after that split, but we could do that. Pan W, nice move here. Nice bounce after its earnings there. See if that actually ends up getting back closer to that 320. Stay focused. Are you buying LAM research? You'd buy it right now. You trade that right now. Let me know if you're looking to buy and hold this after a split. I'm definitely looking at that on Chipotle, by the way, which is coming up here pretty soon. Would definitely like to add some Chipotle long term.
So this is on, a stock split with LAM Research and a 10 billion stock buyback. I mean, they didn't even announce earnings.
You're talking about the move here today?
Well, I'm talking about the news in LAM Research today.
Trading higher after the company announced a buyback and seeking authorization for a stock split. I mean, look, here's your long-term chart on LAM Research. I mean, you're asking me if this is a good buy after a split. I mean, I got to think, yeah.
Well, the split's not is supposed to happen, according to this, on October 2nd.
Ryan, what happened to the bird making trades? He flew the coop. Yeah, I'm long Chipotle for sure, as am I.
There's another one that should split. Right? I mean, that's pretty expensive.
Which one are you talking about?
Chipotle.
Yeah, Chipotle is announced for June. I think it's a 50 to 1.
That's right. That's right.
50 to 1. Yeah.
I forgot about that one. You're right.
Sorry, it's so slow, folks. I really am trying to look around here. I'm trying to find anything I can.
Ryan, make the market do things.
I know. I'm trying.
Maybe there's a trade in BE setting up here. Maybe not. The volume just isn't great, so I'm not feeling comfortable about getting into really anything that looks like it's got a good setup because the volume just doesn't seem like it's there.
Yeah, I'm glad Stay Focused had mentioned this quite a bit recently, that trading in the right at the early part of the day. I'm glad we hit Nvidia out of the gate here. Dr. Manred, ALAB, any news? I didn't have anything here from today. Last news I have here is from yesterday. Had a PR about extending interoperability leadership, driving seamless PCIe 6 deployment. Had a couple of the CFO and the general counsel and secretary added shares at 76.67. So that's the only news I see. It's stale from yesterday. It is positive, but that's what I got on ticker ALAB.
Stay focus is around. Is this another AI data center play?
Which one?
The one we were just talking about, ALAB.
ALAB, yeah, I believe that is. Oh, I believe that's a chip name here. Hang on a sec. I had some notes on this
semiconductor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious because there was another company, big company. I'm trying to think of who it was that had some similar news about networking equipment that they were coming out with. I'm trying to think of what the company is. It's a big.
It wasn't any of the big ones like QCOM, was it? Like Qualcomm or anything like that?
It's not Qualcomm, but it's a big company that manufactures equipment and devices. QCOM's mostly in just the mobile chips.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me think about that because there was some similar news to this one that moved. I'm trying to think of what the company was. Give me a second. Sorry.
Yep, you got it. We only have 5 minutes left here, and Zunaid's going to be jumping on for an all access, so we're gonna have to speed it up.
Yeah, I'll have to think about what that was. It had news yesterday, and it's a big company. I'm trying to think of what it was. I don't think it was Applied Materials.
That's AMAT.
Yeah, I don't think it was them.
The Tesla looking like it's trying to hold the VWAP here for anyone that's still looking for some action. ASML. Was that it? We talked about that one yesterday.
No, it's a company that builds. One of the things they do is they build network cards, Ethernet cards.
BDRX finally popped here, by the way. Wow, it just kind of happened out of the blue. BDRX popping above all of the tops of these ranges from the pre-market and the regular session here. Volume continues to expand. They're bringing some size, and I'm going to watch BDRX. Sorry, 13.
No worries. STFU. I think the auto parts retail stores are doing well because it doesn't seem like people are buying vehicles, whether they're new or used. They're just not buying them. They're just fixing them. You can see from the CPI reports, there's a pretty consistent downturn in the prices of new and used vehicles. So it leads me to believe that people just aren't buying cars right now, especially when you have rates being what they are, and it's just adding an additional cost on top of the price of the vehicle. So I think because of where rates are, they're just sticking with the cars they have and just fixing them. I think that could be the big reason.
Just had to do that myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. God, I got nothing else rolling here. I don't see anything on Twitter. Scanners really kind of dried up. All of them the same names here.
Okay. So I feel a little bit silly. It actually was Broadcom. They are launching cutting-edge 400G Ethernet adapters for AI data centers. And that's what reminded me of the stock you were just talking about, ALAB. Because they tend to plug into PCIe. So that's where the connection that I was making came from.
Okay.
Now, if I look at AVGO, I mean, this is just a monster. So I don't know that we're going to see a whole lot of needle moving in relation with the other company. But the fact that we're starting to see some of these other companies talking about, the connectivity between devices in these data centers and networks, that's I think that might be some kind of under the radar play. It's all part of the AI data center theme.
There's going to be a lot more for that too.
You guys are funny. We're talking about used cars are very popular currently, and even a used tent would be popular.
I said we got the best community out there.
They're funny. News from Russia start nuke drill. Okay, well.
What's going on, fellas?
Well, hey there,
Oh,
Junaid.
Junaid. Make the market do something, bro.
Yeah, let me just use my 4-figure account to make the SPY go up. I got you. Don't worry about it.
Sweet.
I can do that easily.
Sweet.
But appreciate you guys for holding down the fort. We got a couple of great interviews coming up from executives from publicly traded companies. We're going to go ahead and start things off with Cardio Diagnostics. So it should be a fun. Appreciate you two holding the fort down.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow.
See you later, folks.
Take care, guys.
All right. Let's go ahead and get things moving on. And again, chat, we love to give you some trading action, but also there are a lot of great companies out there that you might want to put your hard-earned money in it works with in terms of investments. And what we like to do is bring on executives from publicly traded companies so we can go ahead and get your questions answered as well. So if you'd like, you've got the chat function in there. Feel free to follow along with us, because I've got my own set of questions. But of course, we want to make sure if you have any insights that you're looking for, that we can get them taken care of as well. We're going to go ahead and start this double round out with, it's going to be with Dr. Misha Dugan, who is the CEO, co-founder, and director of Cardio Diagnostics. The ticker on the NASDAQ is CDIO. All access starts right now. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I know last time we were talking together, we talked so much about AI and the things that your company was working on. So I'm excited to get some updates there. But for the folks at home that might not be familiar with your company, give us a quick brief overview of what is it that you do.
Yeah, of course. So Cardio is a company focused on the prevention, detection, and management of heart disease. We know that heart disease is the #1 killer both in the United States and globally. And we've had some incremental improvements when we think about technologies and tools to be able to get insights related to heart disease and also to treat and manage this condition. But what Cardio brings to the table is what I would consider a paradigm shift altogether, a new type of biomarker, a newer technology in the field of artificial intelligence, bringing all of these things together so providers, employers, all the different major healthcare stakeholders can better get after heart disease.
There's so much advancement that happens in the health space so many times. And of course, AI is something that's being deployed so much more now. But outside of AI, what would you say is kind of like the key to your technology? Because I'll talk about AI here in a second. But in terms of like the genetics and the epigenetics, how do they kind of work together? What's the key to your technology?
So when we're thinking about heart disease, only about 20% of it is our genetics. So for someone like me who comes from a family of 2 generations history of heart disease, I like to say that I can only blame my family for up to 20% of my risk. The rest of it comes from our lifestyle and environment. And we know genetics really well. It's something we measure from our DNA. But what a lot of people don't realize is our lifestyle and environment also turns a certain DNA biomarker on and off, and that's called epigenetics. So it's a dynamic way and a more objective way to look at the influence of lifestyle and environment, which is also unique to each of us because it's coming from our DNA. And more importantly, it accounts for that larger portion of the variation, which is the up to 80% that is not covered by just our genetic markers. So it's new information content, is higher information content by being able to leverage both of those. But one of the things I would add about epigenetics that is key to what we do is when interventions are put in place, whether it's lifestyle or therapeutics, they do change in as little as 90 days, which our genetics, they do not change, but our epigenetics changes, which is a great way to say, all right, what could it be used for drug development? Could it be used to understand the effectiveness of certain interventions, to personalize interventions? There are a lot of different use cases, but the core of what we do forms the basis for everything else that we build on our technology.
You are much kinder than I am, because I 100% would blame my mom, my father, and whoever else is above them for any problems I have in life. Doesn't matter if they're health related or not.
That's
but
fair.
I'm glad you kind of broke down the differentiation between the two. But now let's go ahead and bring AI back into the conversation as well. How do you integrate that with everything that you're doing?
all of us are walking around with millions of these biomarkers and billions of combinations. And the combinations are really important because if you think about it, two people who smoke the same amount don't have the same risk for heart disease. Two people who have the same level of cholesterol don't have the same level of risk for heart disease. So looking at what's your genetic background and how it confounds with the lifestyle and environment as we see it through epigenetics now starts becoming very complex, and it's billions of combinations.
Yeah.
So AI becomes sort of the foundational tool to be able to say, not all of these biomarkers are relevant. Not all of the patterns are relevant. What are those patterns that are relevant that we can robustly use to be able to identify risk and status, but also take it further to say, is there a drug target? Is there a way we can understand the effectiveness of interventions? And so AI becomes critical to go through the pattern recognition process. And also because it's complex, we do implement machine learning when new patients are tested and we're trying to evaluate their heart disease risk. We implement those models to understand what their risk is and what their status is.
See, this whole conversation is going to make me want to order like a 23andMe just to see what I'm kind of really up against. And of course, got to take care of your diet and different things like that as well. You have a partnership that I wanted to go ahead and discuss with Naviair Telehealth. Tell us about the deal.
For the longest time, one of the key drawbacks in the cardiovascular space has been access to testing. If we think about the traditional modes of testing, you have to go into your doctor's office, you have to get the appointments, whether it's days, weeks, however long it takes. If you live in rural America, and I think we have between 3,000 or 6,000 cardiologists in the country where we don't really have access to them, but we need them when we're having signs and symptoms, how do we get after the issue with healthcare delivery that we also have? The analogy that I like to use is, if we have a test that is only available in Antarctica, how many people are going to be able to get there to get tested and get the insights and the value? So for us, in addition to building a cutting edge technology, it became very important to say, how do we get broad adoption, broad access, get it in the hands of more people than what we're able to do today with today's tools and technologies? And so coupling our tests to telemedicine became very critical. And the reason the telemedicine option works is because as a blood test, we're able to send individuals, patients, once the test is ordered, kits to collect their blood sample at home, send a phlebotomist to their house, they can draw their blood at the doctor's office. What we're trying to do is make sure we're also innovating when it comes to healthcare delivery, not just the technology. And again, our goal for that is to make sure we get the broadest of the broad adoption of our technologies and tools.
Yeah, we saw the importance of telehealth, obviously, in COVID. It kind of really ramped up as well, right? And even before then, I remember when I got my life insurance, someone came to my place to go and get my blood work taken care of. And it's just very, very convenient to not be able to just have someone come at home and take care of it, or have it done remotely and kind of get similar results to what you're looking for as well. You had a presentation at I believe it was the American College of Cardiologists. I think it was like the 73rd annual scientific session back in April. Give me quick insights that you shared there.
One of the key things for us is to get in front of as many providers as possible, because at the end of the day, our products are clinical blood tests that we do need providers to order. So getting them up to speed, getting them looped into our technology, but more importantly, being able to show them the opportunity to be able to increase access to patients. Not a lot of these providers have a treadmill or a CCTA machine in-house. So for them to be able to, one, have a better test, but two, a lot of times we hear providers ask us, one of the gaps we have is, how do we use information to inform treatment? If we know that there is a blockage in the artery, that's great, but how do we know what to treat? We're always treating cholesterol when cholesterol may not necessarily be the problem.
Yeah.
So with Cardio's technology, we map our biomarkers to pathways where they provide personalized insights to say, someone's signal coming from inflammation? Is it coming from diabetes? Is it coming from cholesterol?
Right.
And that's something was very well received by those that attended the American College of Cardiology.
Now, before I let you go, I promised the viewers if they had some good questions, I'd bring it up, and I will substitute mine for what David's asking, but I'll put a little spin on it. Give us an insight on what kind of gives you the edge, right? I have the privilege to talk to many biotech companies that focus on different things when it comes to the body and the mind. And what separates you from your competitors? What gives you that edge to succeed in taking more market share than possibly them?
Sure. First and foremost, it's our one-of-a-kind technology, right? We're to our best of our knowledge, we're the only ones doing genetics and epigenetics for cardiovascular disease. Others may have heard companies like Cologuard with Exact Sciences that are doing epigenetics-based testing, but a lot of them are in the cancer space, not much in the cardiovascular. The other thing, which is a key differentiator, was what I shared a second ago. A lot of the tools and technologies available out there don't necessarily tell what needs to be done. How do you personalize the care for patients? So precision medicine, true and true, and also do not necessarily provide insights on how well these treatments are working. So those are some of the key areas where we are truly differentiated from others.
All right. Well, hey, look, I appreciate the insights, but I do want to give you the floor for a quick minute. Is there anything else that you want to discuss that I didn't get a chance to bring up? The floor is kind of yours to talk to our viewers.
Of course, we're very excited this year to be able to scale up, to be able to increase the adoption of our technology. We actually just shared a press release this morning talking about our pathway for Medicare as well. We did receive CPT codes for our test, dedicated codes. So we're now taking the next steps. Also, always top of mind for us is broad access, broad adoption, getting as much market share as possible.
Well, now that's interesting. And I do want to focus on that. One more question is, how is this going to benefit the company like long-term, right? Like, how does it impact the bottom line, the reach? Any insights on that more than you just shared?
On the Medicare side or in general?
Give me both.
Oh, of course. So when we're talking about, when we're talking about payment, we're always being creative in who's paying for tests like ours, right? And for us, it's about casting a wide net. It's about casting a wide net with payers like Medicare, Medicaid, private payers, but it's also casting a wide net with employers because there are a lot of self-insured employers. Yeah. So being able to diversify our revenue streams and being able to, again, reach as many people as possible, not just from the testing aspect, but also from generating revenue is absolutely key for our bottom line.
All right. Well, appreciate the insight. Thank you so much for your time.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You bet. That is Dr. Misha Dogan, who is the, again, CEO, co-founder, and director of Cardio Diagnostics. Check him out. Ticker is CDIO. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the conversation. David, thank you again for your question. But we told you we had a double header, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the second interview that we have lined up for you. And this is going to be an interesting one in the aerospace. So we have Scott Pomeroy, who is the CEO of XTI Aerospace. Ticker on the NASDAQ is XTIA. All Access starts right now. Scott, good morning. Welcome to the show. What a cool background you've got in the back.
Good morning. I did that just for you this morning.
You know what? My producer yells at me all the time because I don't have anything as cool. So let me know who you've got hooking you up and we can make something work. But thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's always great to talk about the aerospace. But for the folks at home that might not be familiar with the company, give us a quick overview.
Will do. Thanks again, Sinead, for having me on this morning. The company XTIA was founded really with the vision of bringing to market an advanced technology aircraft that combines the speed, the range, the comfort of a fixed wing aircraft with the convenience and efficiency of a helicopter, vertical takeoff and landing. So that the vertical takeoff and landing sector within aerospace has gotten a lot of attention of late, and we are part of that sector.
Now, so to me, a helicopter, obviously one advantage is, hey, you don't really need a runway, right? Like a plane, like we often see when we go to the airport. Are there any other advantages to the combo of like the vertical takeoff and then the traditional fixed wing flight order?
Yeah, well, you highlighted the most important one is we are true point-to-point travel. We make true point-to-point travel possible insofar as we can land anywhere where it's safe and legal. So whether it's helipads, whether it's the cul-de-sac in your street, so you think about the use cases for EMS and just convenient travel. we have that ability. We also, our aircraft also can take off and land conventionally. So we've got landing gear and we can use a runway just like any other fixed wing aircraft. But we have that added benefit of that point-to-point travel. And it, for a lot of users, it eliminates the need for multiple aircraft. Oftentimes operators, regional operators have to move passengers via helicopter from helipad to FBO. And then from FBO, you pick up your fixed wing aircraft. We can eliminate one of those legs and thereby really reduce the time significantly for travel.
Now, I love the word legal that you used earlier. That kind of made me chuckle. It's like, yeah, my imagination would go crazy if I got a chance to pilot one of those things, which I have. Obviously not the, what you've got, but I did take a flight discovery session course, whatever you want to call it, maybe like 3-4 years ago, because it was a dream of mine to be a pilot. Then I hopped on and there were so many procedures and buttons. And I was like, no, I'm going to stick to just interviewing and just making my life easier. So that's the interesting there. But let's talk about your target market. Who are you going after? What's the game plan? Yeah.
So we actually, we have over 700 pre-orders today. And it's from a variety of customers and geographic locations. So around the world, with a roughly $10 million aircraft, that's $7 billion in forward orders that come in the form of conditional sales orders. So I want to be clear about that. But, we have utility to regional operators, to transporters, to regional airlines, individuals that we found. And again, the medical, the EMS, medical emergency delivery, as you think about the flight for life and our ability to expand the range and the speed by which we can address that golden hour for the medical community. So we've seen a lot of interest from that sector.
And then let's talk about the development of I believe it's called the TriFan 600. Where are we with that?
Yeah, so the typical development of an aircraft runs through, really 3 or 4 phases. Okay, you get to your initial design, that gives way and begets your preliminary, what they call PDR, or preliminary design review.
Yeah.
And in that phase, you're actually really solidifying much of your, and you're cementing your design itself. Then you move into what they call CDR, or critical design review. It's where you're actually working closely with your vendor partners, whether there are roughly 30 subsystems on this aircraft, from engines to transmissions to wings to ducted fans, and you're working with your suppliers in that context. And in the CDR phase, you're actually getting to the point where you're machining parts for the aircraft, and then you move into a phase 3, which is really about your test flight. All of this is done under the purview of the FAA.
Yeah.
That is moving through this process with you to ensure safety and efficiency. The whole objective of this is to get to a type certification by the FAA. Certifies the aircraft, both for safety and effectiveness of the aircraft itself, as well as your manufacturing processes. So
and do we
two different elements?
Yeah, and I apologize if you did mention a date and I didn't capture it, but was there a date that you kind of had in mind, for the certification, or is it kind of like, hey, we're dependent on the FAA and we don't really have a good idea at the moment?
We are dependent on the FAA, but
right.
you can look at this as a typically that testing and certification phase is probably 3 to 5 years in to the design aspect.
Okay.
So we've completed our initial PDR and looking to move into and your question, kind of where we were in the process.
Yeah.
We're also re-benchmarking that PDR. That's often done. You go back and you learn new things about the aircraft. You revisit certain aspects of the performance targets. You start with level 0 criteria that you want to have the aircraft perform to, and that's where we established that the aircraft will fly 350 miles per hour, 700 miles at an altitude of 25,000 feet. And that number is an intentional number. It gets you above most weather conditions. This aircraft will fly under IFR, or for those that don't know all the acronyms in the industry, it's Instrument Flight Rules. So when you juxtapose us against other VTOL aircraft that are out there, they're much shorter ranges, much slower speeds, much lower altitudes, and really much lower payloads.
See, this is why you do what you do, because when you mentioned the stats of the range, I'm thinking, oh, 700 miles can get me from here to like Louisiana, where you're like, that's great, but like, let's focus on the weather, which is why we have the altitude of where the flight has to kind of be at. When it comes to this market space, right? How does your TriFan 600 kind of stack up, right? Same question I asked a previous guest. What gives you kind of like the advantage? Is it the range? Is it the altitude? Is it the speed? Or is it something else?
It really is all of the above, which differentiates us. So in the vertical takeoff and landing space, it's largely dominated by electric driven power players. And they've adopted batteries. Some are looking at hydrogen as a mechanism. And while we are staunch supporters of all that they're doing, we distinguish ourselves insofar as we're really still largely mechanical. Now, our tip to sustainability really has to do with the fuel. So our engines will be compatible with SAF, sustainable air fuel, which we believe is really the fuel of the future. It's largely underdeveloped right now, but as we develop the aircraft, we're hopeful that we're in tandem with the rest of the market development of SAF. But we did look at a hybrid derivative of the aircraft along the way, and quite candidly, the technology, battery hydrogen is just not advanced enough for this size of an aircraft. It's why you see a lot of the small drones or the very small air taxis are adopting electric technology because we're just not there. We're hopeful that we'll evolve and advance in that area, and we'll be paying close attention to that and adopting it as we can, because we are very big believers in sustainability relative to the aircraft. But for now, we've got a mechanical design and are looking to demonstrate the utility of the vertical takeoff and landing capabilities first with the aircraft.
Now, I do have a question from the chat, and I'll kind of rephrase it because I know there's certain things that you can comment on and certain things you can't. So there's a question, but I'll kind of rephrase it if you'd like, in the sense of sometimes the market misses things, right? Sometimes they're focused on maybe the next thing, and they're not really patient with what's happening within one company, not just yours, but in general. So what do you think the market is missing in terms of evaluating your company properly to where you may believe that it should be? I know you're focused on execution, but just the idea would be great.
Yeah, it's a fantastic question, and obviously as a CEO, you contemplate that a lot. What is the market? And sometimes it's for us, we ended up here as a consequence of a reverse merger. So I'd argue to a certain extent there's an overhang of the history as much as anything that we are not your grandfather's Oldsmobile, right? We are not the same company, and we are fundamentally different. We did release as part of our public information, a third-party fairness opinion that had us valued significantly higher, multiples of 10 or 20 times where we currently trade, which I would argue is much closer. And that's based on comparables. That's based on the market and where these companies were at the same point. Companies like Joby, like Lilium, like Archer, as they evolved and developed in their pre-revenue stage. And so part of that becomes incumbent on me and the company to get out and educate folks. And that's why I really appreciate being here with you this morning as we get that opportunity to tell our story. And because it is a significant multiple of from a valuation standpoint of where we are. And we will endeavor to get out and make sure we're just educating.
Well, we appreciate your time here. Before I let you go, I will kind of give the floor to you. If there is anything else that you wanted to talk about, anything I did not bring up, any recent events with the company that you'd like to share with our viewers, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks. No, I would just, I would just seek to put an emphasis and an exclamation point on the point we were just talking about. Right? Is the market? I'd love for the market to really focus on who we are now.
Yeah.
As of effective on March 13th of this year. So we're only, we're an infant at 2 months old in exposing who we are. But it's an extraordinary. We're at an extraordinary time in transportation, and on the look back, we will see that this inflection point was very significant as we looked at changing air travel in ways that we haven't seen in over 100 years. Whether it's the air taxis, whether it's aircraft like ours. And so we're excited about where we are in the process, the aircraft that we have, its utility, functionality, and we're excited about the future.
All right. Well, I mean, look, it's a great space to be in. You guys are clearly got your milestones and everything ready to go. I will say this, next time you and I chop it up, you guys hit a milestone, would love to come out and maybe do the interview in front of all the cool things and the technologies you guys have going on. But thank you so much for your time today.
That's great. We will take you up on that offer, Zune. Thank you.
You got it. Absolutely. That is Scott Pomeroy, who is the CEO of XTI Aerospace. Again, ticker on the NASDAQ is XTIA. And chat, it's always great when you guys are active and kind of engaged. We appreciate it. We kind of do this for y'all, right? To kind of educate you on companies that might be undervalued, companies that you've asked us for. And when you ask us, we go ahead and tell our team to reach out. So we do appreciate you being engaged in the chat as well. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to take a 15-minute break. We're going to come back with Tech Tune-Up. Nvidia reports earnings tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and talk about that with Paul Meeks. Not just that, but obviously we've got other stocks to go ahead and cover as well. And then at 12 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and talk about some ETFs, some income strategies that we can have with Infrastructure Capital Advisory. So a lot of great content planned. We'll be back in 15 minutes. Thank you for watching.